Hello, hello, hello. So I have felt the call to share my story. My soul has been guiding me to share exactly how I have overcome challenges in my life and how I have come to the space of who I am today. I am an open book and I have shared everything as I was transversing through it in my life for the last 4 years. Everything is online. However, I feel called to go into a deeper aspects of the beginning and why my life went the way it did. So, my first heartbreak, my first trauma was when my mum had a car accident when I was 8.5 years old. Yeah, so she became brain damaged. Now, leading up to that, I had a beautiful family that supported self expression, to try new things, curiosity. I felt so safe, I felt so held, so supported, so much love. It was such a beautiful upbringing. And so everything was perfect in my eyes up until that point. And then my whole family kind of just split apart because my dad became a carer for my mum because she was brain damaged. While my mum was in hospital for quite a long time, I lived with my friend for 6 months, and that was such a beautiful experience, like living with your best friend, although it was in a new family, and not with my sister anymore. My sister was living with her friend. So all of a sudden, a beautiful family all together got split apart. Yeah. And so that was when I decided to numb out. That was when I closed my heart and decided it wasn't safe to let love in. And I just decided to go on with my life and to just numb out of that heart space. Yeah. So I stopped being creative, I stopped dancing. I was in many netball teams and sports. I kept doing sports, but I stopped a lot of the things that my mum encourages me to do of my self-expression. It brought up a lot of pain for me. So fast forwarding on to when I was a teenager, I started binge drinking to get drunk. Like I would drink half a bottle of vodka or 3/4 a bottle of sambuca. That was my drink. I would love to just shot it, so then I'd be drunk and then I'd go dancing, I'd go have fun. I didn't want to hold a drink, right? So massive binge drinker. And then I was living in London and I found drugs. Yeah. So when I would drink, my body didn't like it. The whole next day I'd be vomiting, pretty much alcohol poisoning, and I would still do it, right? I would be vomiting every like half an hour to an hour, my body fully rejecting the alcohol, but I would still binge drink. I would never drink for the taste, obviously just to get drunk. And then, I found drugs and I didn't feel sick the next day. I had a come down probably about 3 days later, and I would just not work and watch a sad movie, bawl my eyes out, so much tears, and not realizing now that that was just like the activation of deep grief that I was feeling within. So still numbing out. Now, in London, it was MDMA, cocaine, and then I moved to Australia when I was 21, and I got introduced to crystal meth. Yeah. And now I became an addict for 7 years on crystal meth. And at the beginning, I was getting high probably about 4 days out of a 7-day week. Yeah. And I remember going into work and my boss at the time saying to me, "Yanni, are you okay? You're not your usually bubbly self." And that moment was like, fuck, it's actually affecting my personality. And I was only doing it for about 4 months at that stage, but I was doing it a lot. Yeah. So after that, I went to India for a month and didn't do anything, but withdrawal symptoms for sure. And then I came back and I was still doing it, but probably like once a week. And then it went to like once every 2 weeks. So because I wasn't doing it as often as I started doing it back when the time I was really addicted, I convinced myself that I wasn't addicted. Yeah, I was in denial. I was like, everyone else is doing drugs. They're doing MDMA or they're doing something else. Or they're drinking. I don't drink, And so I'd make up all these excuses in my mind to say it was okay. Now, crystal meth and cocaine is a much mind drug, and it closes your heart. Closes your heart to feel and just be present with yourself and your emotions. Like, I didn't feel any emotions during that time. I was so cut off from my heart space, you know? And hey, my life was about a 7 out of 10 happy. And this is a dangerous space to be in. Like, I had good job, good friends, good community, loved dancing, but I was still partying, you know? I was numbing out. I was like, this is just life. And so it wasn't until Sam came on the scene and we were together for a year, and he was going through his own transformation, and he asked me how I was happy all the time, right? And so I was wearing this mask of this good girl mask, and I was fooling myself. I was fooling other people that I was truly happy. If I was truly happy, I wouldn't need drugs to make me happy, right? I just thought that that was life. But the truth of the matter is, I didn't have any negative thought patterns. Yeah, I always believed in myself. I always told myself I was beautiful. You know, I have never had really self-consciousness. I went through a stage of a little bit of self-consciousness around my boobs, but now obviously I haven't worn a bra for about 4 years. But yeah, so I did have slight self-consciousness, but usually I loved who I was, right? And then as a journey of our relationship, we actually activated personal development together, right? So Sam went to a few weekend workshops, and then we both did a healing modality together, and realizing, you know, that our journey of spirituality and energy. The reason why I'm telling you this is because I was living so much in the mind, and a lot of my clients are living in the mind, right? And so we're overthinkers, we're worrying, and it's all like we're stressing out, but it's all in the subconscious. Like, I thought I was so easygoing, but really there was so many thoughts of worry that wasn't for myself. It was for all my loved ones, or it was just worrying about finances, worrying about money, you know. So a lot of things ticking over in my head and not leading from my heart space. It was very much in the masculine energy, very much the logical thinker, instead of like trust and intuition and surrender and the feminine flow, right? So yes, Sacred Union was the activation. We went on our journey of self-discovery, right? And that was when I stopped doing drugs, a couple of years into our relationship, and I had to feel a lot of emotions. I had to cut off a lot of friends that I knew it wasn't in alignment anymore, you know? And like, I didn't want to be around drinkers. I didn't want to be around partiers because well, first of all, I was addicted. So I didn't want to be around that space because I didn't fully trust myself that I could at the beginning. And then that actually helped those people as well, because I was almost their permission slip to continue on doing those drugs as well. So it's like, when you make a change in your life, just watch it around how the ripple on effects it has on people when you choose yourself, when you choose love, and you put yourself as the number one priority. Now, for me to get over my addiction, I had to feel my emotions, right? So breath work was the biggest activator for me to open up my heart, to feel all of the pain of the past, right? And, you know, I had to show up for myself every day and doing my morning practices and choosing heart space and subconscious reprogramming and like moving my body, connecting with the land, all of the things to really help me choose myself. Now, I love dancing. I love festivals. It's a big part of my journey. It's a big part of who I am, you know, and I'm super grateful for the journey that I've chosen and how I get to still be in those spaces and dance my heart out, you know? And yeah, so what else do I want to share? So a lot of people have their story of drug addicts, right? So it could be, I mean, mine's hardcore, crystal meth. And the thing is, not many people know this as well. Not people even knew it back then, because it was such a front, right? When we want to change our life, we need to really choose it, and we need to want it, and we need to take off all the masks, and we need to first get penetrated with the truth frequency. And crystal meth was my only lie that I was telling myself and I was telling the world, right? And so as soon as I came out and I told everybody, and I asked for support to help me get through it, that was when my life completely changed, because I can actually hold a higher frequency. So the moral of me sharing this is that we all have our story, we all have our traumas, and it's up to us to not let the pain of our past define who we are. Yeah, choose to crack open that heart, choose to love even more, feel that grief, and allow your heart to expand and grow. All it needs is a choice. Choose to live the best life that you ever can, right? Choose to ask for support, because we're not meant to do this journey alone. Yeah? Choose to speak your truth, because first we need to have awareness around where we're currently at, what needs to change, and then we can take aligned action towards our desires. Yeah? And then we're in alignment. So know that invest in yourself. You know, I've invested $100,000 into my personal development over the last 4 years, and it has completely changed my life. You know, from being a drug addict to living in my heart space, teaching my wisdom, helping women all around the world how to connect into their body, how to feel their emotions, how to take off their masks and really own their unique soul expression with no shame, no guilt, feeling any rage and grief, and opening your hearts up, continuing leveling up, continuing that next step of discomfort, right? To be seen in your allness, to be seen in your truth. And it's fully liberating to really love all parts of yourself, the light, the dark, your past, and embracing your future. Yeah. So that was the relevance of this story, you know, from drug addict to women's empowerment coach and owning who I used to be. I loved my past. I loved the stories that it has brought, and I'm super proud of myself for being able to overcome it. It is a really hard, addictive drug, you know, so I'm honoring all the people out there who have gone down that journey and come out the other side. Yeah, honoring you and sending you all so much love.